Hello, welcome to the Memorial Herman Guidelines presentation. Before we list the various guidelines, our phone number is 704-335-9375. Please call this number anytime you need immediate assistance. Please note that this number is also on the back of your ID badge. We are available 24/7. We serve many Memorial Herman hospitals and clinics, so the instructions below are only for the 6411 Fannin Street location. Punctuality is extremely important for this customer. If you are late, they may ban you from their location, which would be a great pity because they give us a huge volume of work. Please note that at times it is difficult to find a parking spot, so we advise that you reserve enough time so that you arrive 15 minutes before the scheduled time. This is a very important item for Memorial Herman, which is why we are also going to be very strict about the dress code. A suit is always required for both males and females, and male interpreters must wear a tie. All footwear must be closed-toe. Neither tennis shoes or boots are permitted. High heels must not be taller than 3 inches. All tattoos must be covered so as to not be visible. Visible body piercing is permitted in the ear only, and no more than 2 earrings per ear may be worn. All other body piercings must be covered. Never wear boots, denims, leggings, sandals, shorts, exercise wear. Please do not use heavy perfumes because it can trigger a patient's asthma attack or cause problems with people with allergies. Your badge must be worn on the right side and above the belt line. Please use the clip that we have provided. Strings or collars to wear your badge at the chest level are not allowed. If you do not have a badge, please let us know and we will follow up with you. Here's the Memorial Herman map. Please note that for every single assignment that you have at Memorial Herman, you must go to the Interpreter Services office. It is located at the basement of the Jones Pavilion in Suite 600. Please make sure that you check in by writing your name and the time of arrival on the form that is located close to Ms. Junie's office. It is best to park in garage number 4 because it is the closest to the Interpreter Services office. This deck is accessed off of Cambridge Street and the address is 1417 Cambridge Street. Once you've parked in garage 4, take the main elevators to the 2nd floor. You will then use a sky bridge to get to the Jones Pavilion. After signing in at Interpreter Services, please meet your patient where the instructions posted on Interpreter Intelligence Portal indicates. Make sure to read all instructions carefully beforehand. Please introduce yourself to the receptionist also so that everybody is aware that the interpreter has arrived. If your patient has not arrived within 15 minutes of the assignment time, ask the receptionist if she would like you to make a courtesy call to the patient. You will not call the patient from your cell phone number. Please ask the receptionist to dial the number from her phone. You will ask the patient if they are on the way or if they need any instructions. If the patient does not respond, please call the Memorial Herman coordinator at 713-704-9523 and let her know that the patient is not there yet. If your patient does not arrive or their appointment is canceled, please call the Memorial Herman coordinator to receive further instructions. If your patient's appointment finishes before your requested length of assignment, please call the Memorial Herman coordinator to receive further instructions or return to the Interpreter Services office at the Jones basement. You will also be asked to stay for the entire duration of your requested time, even if the patient's appointment has finished, because this hospital is very busy and the customer may need you to help with additional patients. Remember that our customers do not pay us per patient, but per time. When you wait in the small waiting room located in the Interpreter Services office, please make sure to be as quiet as possible. Staff interpreters and coordinators are close by and noise can be distracting. Do not relax by taking off your jacket or your shoes, and please make sure that before you leave, you sign out at the Interpreter Services office. Assignments are usually requested for 2 hours, which is the minimum fee we pay you. The client has provided us with a 1-hour grace period. This means that if during the course of your interpreting assignment you are asked to stay longer than the requested time, you have 1 additional hour to interpret without having to call Fluent. However, if you are asked by the healthcare provider to stay longer than that 1-hour grace period, you must call Fluent at least 10 to 15 minutes before the extra time comes to an end so that we may call the requester and get approval. After that, we will contact you and let you know whether or not you can stay the extra time. Do not be afraid to kindly excuse yourself to the healthcare providers. They are aware of hospital policies. For example, you can say, "I'm sorry, I have to step out for just a second and call my agency since the scheduled time is up and the hospital has to approve that I stay longer than what they requested. It will only take a minute." Under no circumstance is it permitted that you take it upon yourself to stay longer than what is pre-approved. If you stay longer than what you were scheduled for and what was approved, we will not be able to bill the customer, which in turn means that we will not be able to pay you for that time, even if you did provide your interpreting services. When you call Fluent asking for a time extension, please indicate how much longer the provider is asking you to stay and what is the reason. Never attempt to leave earlier than the time that you were booked. Remember that you have to call the Fluent office for a time extension and not the Memorial Herman coordinator. If a doctor or nurse or receptionist asks you to interpret for another patient that is not specified on your assignment, please contact the Memorial Herman coordinator for further instructions or ask the staff to page Interpreter Services at 22068 to submit a request. While you are in the hospital, remember that you work for Interpreter Services, not the doctors or nurses. Only the Memorial Herman coordinator can decide which patient you can interpret for. You will find the assignment sheet next to the sign-in roster at the Interpreter Services office. Take it with you and fill out all the information such as what time you started interpreting for the patient and what time you finished. Ask the nurse to give you a sticker with the patient's information and place the sticker on your assignment sheet. Leave the assignment sheet in the Interpreter Services office once you are done. If your assignment includes multiple patients throughout the day, Ms. Junie from the Interpreter Services office may give you a pager. This will be used to inform you of any new assignments. Please ensure the pager is properly working and that you place it on vibrate somewhere close to your body so you do not miss any messages. Messages will include the location, a room number, name of staff requesting the interpreter, and contact extension for the requester. For instance, go to HP 10.25. That means go to the Herman Pavilion, floor 10, second pod, 5th room. If you are assisting an international patient, sometimes you will have to meet the patient at International Services. This is located on one column. This is near the main admissions and the valet. In this case, you will also need to pick up a consultation report sheet and fill it out. If you are assisting a patient that is going to a procedure, for example a surgery, interpret for the patient during the pre-op, but call the coordinator as soon as all the pre-op paperwork is completed. Do not wait in the waiting room during a procedure. Most likely, you will be asked to return to the Interpreter Services office to assist with any needs that they may have. If you are asked to sight translate a consent form, please do so in the presence of a staff member and do not sign as a witness. It is important that you sight translate the entire document so the patient is completely informed. If you are on assignment after hours, as soon as you get to the hospital, please notify the operations administrator at 713-704-7995 that you have arrived. The interpreter services office is closed after hours, so you do not have to go there to sign in and sign out, but you do have to call the OA and provide so that they can provide you any additional instructions for your request. If your patient's appointment finishes before your requested length of assignment, please call the OA to receive further instructions. If your patient's appointment is going to exceed your requested length of assignment, you will have to call Fluent to get an extension. In order to get the extension approval, you must state the reason for the extension. Fluent will then call the OA and get the approval, and the agency will call you back to approve or deny the extension. Remember, if you need an extension, please call Fluent, not the OA. After your assignment, please immediately contact the OA to receive further instructions or to sign out. If the OA needs you to help with additional patients, they will give you further instructions. You may be asked to visit a patient to ask him or her if there is anything that this patient needs. When that happens, you can simply approach the patient's nurse and ask them if they will need your services. If a patient refuses your services, because there may be times when a patient does not want to use your help, first, reassure the non-English speaking patient that your services are free, because sometimes they don't want to use the interpreter because they assume that they will be asked to pay. However, if a patient does not change his mind and says that he or she does not need an interpreter, please ask the staff to document the refusal in the patient's chart and inform the Memorial Herman coordinator. If the hospital staff asks you to come for the next appointment, do not tell them, "Yes, I will be here." Instead, tell them, "I would be glad to do so. However, you will need to contact interpreter services since all requests must go through them." Now, if a patient is adamant in requesting you, politely let them know that you cannot guarantee that you will be at his or her next appointment, but reassure them, "Everyone in my team is trained to provide the same services." You must never share your personal information with the patients. Be friendly, but remember that you are not the patient's friend. If they ask you a personal question, you may divert the conversation by changing the subject to a more general one. For example, the weather. If upon arrival you realize that the patient you were called to help is someone you know, for example, you both belong to the same religious congregation, please call Fluent and let us know. We will replace you with someone else. An interpreter sees everything from birth to death and everything in between. So be prepared to face very difficult situations, such as telling parents that their baby must be disconnected, witnessing a patient pass away, giving news of a terminal illness to a patient, and so many other situations. Please note that this is a Level 1 trauma hospital. One of the most frequently mentioned items during the orientation was how some interpreters tend to feel very cold. Remember that you are a part of the healthcare team. Therefore, do your best to stand out by being kind, professional, and above all, flexible to adapt yourself to whatever situation you face. Make sure that you interpret for everyone. For example, several physicians may speak a patient's native language. So during their rounds, which is when an attending physician goes from room to room visiting each patient and brings along his group of colleagues or students, the physician's team may not necessarily speak the patient's language. In that case, instead of being silent while the patient and the doctor are talking, you can switch to simultaneous interpreting into English so the physician's team is informed of the interaction that is taking place. If you ever see a patient lost around the hospital, offer your help. Even if you don't have the answer, you can always connect them with the hospital staff. Be mindful that going to the hospital is never a fun situation. Therefore, patients may be either upset or angry, which might make them rude to you. However, do not take it personally. Simply interpret everything they say, even the bad words. Be friendly and kind, but do not make friends with the patients. Do not share your phone number with anyone. Do not share business cards. Please do not accept gifts or money. And do not take pictures of patients or staff while you are in the hospital. If the patient tries to request you for a follow-up visit, explain that all the interpreters work on rotation and that you cannot guarantee that you will be the one who is assigned to them next time. Reassure them that whoever comes will do an excellent job. It is important to always build up the reputation of your colleagues and Fluent as well. There are 3 important phone numbers that you must save to your cell phone so that you have easy access to them at all times. The first one is the Fluent telephone number. Remember that this is also on the back of your badge. Use this number whenever you need to call for an extension. That number is 704-335-9375. The second number is the Memorial Herman coordinator number. Call as soon as you are done with your assignment. Ask if they want to dispatch you somewhere else or if they want you to come back to the Interpreter Services office. That number is 713-704-9523. The final number is the Memorial Herman Operations Administrator. This is for after regular office hours. That number is 713-704-7995. Call Fluent Language Solutions, not the Memorial Herman staff, if you have any questions about immunizations, about payments, or any other administrative questions. Please call us immediately if you are going to be late to an assignment so that we may contact our customer. At this location, there is no verification of service form. So in order to get paid by Fluent, all you have to do is close the job in Interpreter Intelligence, upload any parking receipt that you may have, and don't forget to enter the amount under incidentals. We appreciate all your efforts to comply with these guidelines. Please do not hesitate to call us should you have any questions, comments, or feedback. We will be delighted to help you in any way that we can. Now, click on the link to the questionnaire in the email and answer all the questions. Thank you all and have a wonderful afternoon.